Big game for us after losing 2 in a row. We didn't lose 2 in a row all last year, so something new with some of these guys to try to figure out if we've got any chance to try to compete for an SEC championship. This pretty much turns into a must-win at this point, being 2 games behind Auburn, who just beat us only 4 games in. So, and we beat Mississippi State 3 times last year, so they're going to come ready to play. It's one of those deals where, you swept Auburn last year, and they're going to come with everything they got, which they did in our last game. You swept Mississippi State last year, so they're looking for revenge. We clinched the regular season title on their home floor, which sure didn't sit well. They've got some competitive guys, coaching staff, so our guys got to understand this stuff and be ready to go. They're one of the best rebounding teams in the country. We've struggled at times to rebound the ball, which is a major concern with going into this game. So we're going to have to rebound the ball well when we try to finish the possession on our defensive end. We're going to have to play hard for the entire 40 minutes. They're a good team. Molinar's one of the best guards in this league, and he can go for 30 on any given night. They've got the best combination of bigs maybe in the league with, we're anticipating Tolu Smith being back off the COVID, Tolu and Garrison Brooks and Javian Davis, DJ Jeffries, he plays the 3, the 4 some. They're a talented group in the front court with one of the best guards in the conference. So it's going to be a tough game, especially being on the road, and it's already hard, when you've dropped 2 in a row. So our guys got to come ready to compete.
Thanks, Coach. As a reminder, if you have a question, just use the raise hand function. Let's go ahead and start with Mike Rodak first.
Just with football season being over, just where do things stand with Kool-Aid and Terry and Arnold as far as potentially joining the team, number 1, and number 2? Just how close are things with Rojas coming back?
Rojas is getting closer. He's been able to do some live stuff in the half court in practice. So we talked to the trainer after practice today. Clark said, we'll dress him out. Maybe looking possibly at LSU next week, but he's going through warm-ups and everything right now as if he's going to play, but he should be within a week with Rojas. I thought he looked pretty good today in practice, so try to get him probably next stage, get him doing everything live in practice, full court up and down. But he looked good in the half court. He brings some toughness. He passed the ball well for Baggies on the scout team when we guard their stuff in the half court, and he looked good. We have not seen Terrion or Kool-Aid. Obviously, it's a long football season, and their bodies need a little time to recover. They, I did talk to Coach Hodgson about it, and I think they've reached out to him, but I don't have an anticipated start time, or if the plan is for them to still come in or not. Like I said before, it's really hard here, just with football going so late. It seems like they're playing to the middle of January every year here. By that time, we've played over half our schedule at this point. So I'd love to get some toughness, some defense. Our defense been an issue. Both those guys are big-time athletes that could probably guard a little bit, but we're not anticipating them at any point here real soon.
Nick Kelly.
Yeah, after Keon, JQ, and Shaq, I think went combined 9 for 38. What are the points of emphasis or just things in practice you guys have worked on with them after that?
You know what? It's a combination of a couple things. One is we can't pass up open shots. Like, you're not going to get out of a shooting slump passing up open shots. 2 is you got to take good shots. We don't. I think those 3 guys combined to get 9 shots blocked. If I remember right, the team got 11 shots blocked. If you're getting your shot blocked, it probably wasn't a good shot to take. So shot quality, shot selection's got to be better from some of them. Taking every open good shot you have, you have to take them. Like, when we turn down shots, you end up getting a worse shot or a turnover later in the possession when it's a good shot you should have taken. And then just the last thing, and maybe the most important, which helps with the first two, is our ball movement's got to get better. Like they switched us a lot. Auburn did, turned into a lot of ISO basketball. It's not how we want to play. The ball quit moving. We ended up, we chart assisted field goal attempts and unassisted field goal attempts, and we had way too many unassisted field goal attempts, and a couple of those guys had too many themselves. We've got to get the ball moving to where we've got way more assisted field goal attempts and way fewer non-assisted attempts.
Joey Blackwell.
Hey, Coach. The past couple of games you guys have had, you've had really strong second half comeback attempts that have fallen just short. And I'll ask you the same question I asked Noah. How have you been using that at all as kind of a way to, as an example of how you guys should be playing a full 40 minutes and how that would benefit the team?
Yeah, we've actually used it quite a bit, and then it happened today in practice, to be honest with you, too. And we chart everything in practice. So we're going against a scout team. Our first section in practice where we guarded the scout stuff, I looked over it. We had 11 possessions, and scout team was a 1.64, which is bad. I mean, our scout team's not going to be nearly as good as, it's consisted of, mainly bench guys that, aren't playing many minutes, walk-ons. So then at the end of practice, we kind of challenge our guys, like, how are we going to guard anybody? We're scout team scoring 1.64. We lose every game we ever played if that's what we gave up during the game. So we had 18 possessions after that, and we were like a 0.35 on those 18 possessions. Well, I said, well, what's the difference? Well, it's effort. Well, effort's something you can control, and if we're continuing to talk about things you can control and we're not doing a great job of it, then we've got an issue. So, if we wait till we're down 14 to play as hard as we can possibly play against Auburn, you give yourself the chance you're going to come up short, which we did. In practice today, if, you had 3 sessions where we guard the scout, well, the next 2 are twice as good as the first one. Like, why? Because we're not playing as hard. So we got to get some leadership. We got to get some guys that are going to play with max effort 100% of the time, not, a percentage of the time that they decide they're going to play hard. So, yeah, I mean, the Missouri game was case in point. I mean, they shot it really well against us, but in my opinion, they shot it really well because we didn't put enough pressure on them. We didn't play hard enough. I mean, we saw, the next night out, Arkansas has got their back against the wall, 0-3 in league, and they play really hard like they should, being 0-3 in the league, and Missouri struggled and couldn't score the ball against them. Well, if we'd have played that hard, they probably would have struggled like that against us too. So, we got to give better effort for 40 minutes. We got to give better effort every possession in practice. When we get to that point, I think we're as good as just about anybody in the country, and we've proven that. When we decide which possessions we're going to play hard on, we're a really average team.
All right, we got a couple more questions left. Let's start with Michael Casagrande first.
Yeah, Noah Gurley described practices as chippy and aggressive. Do you see a fight from this team that's trying to get out of this slump they're in?
Yeah, we practiced for about an hour and a half, and the last hour was great. It's like maybe the best hour we've had. The problem was the first 20 to 30 wasn't where it needed to be. So we've got it in us. Just if you're a real competitor, I don't think you have to get down to pull that out of you. I think you just come with it at the start of the game. You come with it at the start of practice. It's you. That's who you are, and you play that way all the time. So we 100% have that in us. We got to get these guys to bring it every time. They got to be like true, real competitors that want to compete on every possession, every game. I thought Shackelford's defense, I looked at the blue-collar points. He led us in blue-collar points today. We challenged him after the last game. We didn't think he had enough, and he's been great in practice the last 2 days. So the guys that maybe struggle in particular points in games, like they're more than capable of doing it. We got to get everybody to do it 100% of the time. When we get to that place, we're going to be a really good team.
Next up, Stefan Kreisnick from the Northeast Mississippi Daily Journal. Go ahead, Stefan.
Hey, Nate, I cover Mississippi State. I was kind of just curious where, you've seen Javian Davis kind of develop for Mississippi State from the time you had with him.
Yeah, you know what? When we got here, his body wasn't what it needed to be to play our style, and I thought he worked really hard to get it much better in the 1 year we had with him. It looks like he's continued to keep his body at a great place, and he's in great shape. With us, we play a little bit more perimeter oriented. He worked on his jumper and stuff, and I think he got a lot better at it when he was here and went over there, and they're kind of playing him more back to the basket, which I think he's gotten a lot better. I think he's playing really well for him, to be honest with you. I hope he does, and I like him. He's a good kid. When we see him, we still talk, and I think he's got friends back here. I saw him this summer, and we talk. So I still got a good relationship with him, and I hope he does really well, except for, the 2 games he plays against us. We don't want him to do well against us, but his post-up game's been good. His offensive rebounding's really good. He's got one of the best offensive rebounding rates. So, I just think he's kind of honed his overall skill level. And he's a gym rat. He's in the gym a lot. He's stayed in great shape. He's moving well. He's playing well in the role that they've got him playing. He's, we've sure he's on the scouting report for us heavy because he's going to play real heavy minutes. Now, if Tolu Smith's back, his minutes will probably get trimmed back a little bit, but I think he's played really well for him so far this year.
Stefan, you had a follow-up?
Yeah, just to follow up, Javian kind of mentioned it the other day too, just the relationship he has with, a lot of people still back at Alabama. I mean, what's that mean for you as a coach now? He's not there anymore, but he's got these bonds with a lot of his former teammates still.
I mean, when we got here, we wanted to build a culture that emphasized family and valuing the player as a person, as a man, as an individual, more than just as a basketball player. And so I think we've done a pretty good job of that. I think, when we got here, there's a handful of players that transferred after the first year, and a lot of that was they probably fit other systems better. They weren't recruited by us, and we tried to build great relationships with everybody that we didn't recruit, and some of them fit our system more than others. And Herb Jones fit our system great. John Petty fit the system. Kyra Lewis was great. Some of the other ones like Javian, maybe fit a little bit better in another system that didn't have anything to do with him as a person. So, I want to have a good relationship with the guys that are here, whether they're here for a year or 4 years or 5 or whatever. I want to make sure we do that, me personally. And then I think he's got close relationships with some of the players that he played with the year he was here, and I like that. I think that they should develop brotherhood type relationships with the players on their team, and if they leave, and he left on good terms. It wasn't like me and him were bad. We talked about it, and even when he put his name in the portal, there was an option for him to return here, if he didn't like anything he saw out there. But he's from Mississippi. They wanted him really bad. They play a system that fits him pretty well, so it was a good fit for him there, and I think he's doing well for him. So it looks like it was a good decision, and we wished him well. And again, like I said, I'm pulling for him to do really well, every game except for the ones he plays us.
All right, last question. We'll finish with Joey Blackwell. Go ahead, Joey.
Hey, Coach. I know he's out for the season, but there was a video online of Namari Burnett, just shooting, from the corner. And I was just wondering, just a quick, do you have an update just as far as how his rehabilitation is going from his surgery?
Clark says he's ahead of schedule. He's doing unbelievable. He's a kid that works really hard, takes his game very seriously. He's very professional about everything. He's coming along really well. And I don't know I don't know the video you're referring to. I took all social media off my phone, so I don't really see much during the season. But my guess would be he's making a lot of shots on the video. I don't know. Otherwise, they probably don't put the video out. But my guess would be he's making them because he makes shots too. Before he got injured, I think he was in 10 or 11 skill workouts, we call them. They're essentially practices and live stuff, and then any of the 5-on-5 live stuff we had in those workouts. He was shooting 60% from 3 in live action with live defense against guys competing to play for minutes. So, it would have been great to have him this year. We could have certainly used his shooting. We've struggled to shoot the ball at various times this year, and he's, one of the best shooters we have on the team. I anticipate him being one of the best shooters we have next year and one of the better shooters in the country, to be honest with you. He's got a pretty high IQ, and he's really locked into what the team's doing this year, even though he's out. He's been a great teammate. He makes comments in video, talks to the guys when they're out of the game. I think he's showing some leadership qualities. So we're excited he's in the program. Wish he could have played this year. It's unfortunate he can't, but his rehab's coming along fine. I think he'll be at 100% by the time the season starts next year.
All right. Thank you, Coach.